What's up? I'm Troubleshoot. Welcome back to another week of Rust skins. In this one, I'll be showing you the brand new skins, speaking about them, price speculation, and things like that. So let's get into it. Starting off at the very top, these are the brand new 8 Rust skins that we have. We've got a glowing Aztec garage door for $3, a jungle tomb sleeping bag for $2, Aztec rock door for $1.50, and the rest of these are weapons, consisting of a Crocodile DB for $2.50, Heatseeker AR for $3, Tropical semi-automatic pistol for $2, Jungle Bite Python at $2, and finally the Predator sword for $3. Let's go ahead and have a look at these in-game, and then we'll speak about where price of these may be going. Starting off at the very top, the Tropical SAP for $2 is this brand new weapon over here. It's a very bright, I guess, toucan looking semi-automatic pistol, and ultimately it is, I would think, a, let's say, statement piece of some sort. There's not many skins that look like this. It's very stylized / comic booky across the front, as you can see. I assume it's some kind of toucan, and it's really well detailed. I really do like how this thing looks. If we flick over to first person, this is what the thing looks like. It's actually pretty cool. I really do like the orange / blue accents. I think it looks really great. And if we give this thing a reload, you can see the magazine is just more leaf. Ultimately, is this thing worth $2? Let me know down below. And if you're wondering, this is what this toucan type weapon looks like when you scope down. These sort of small yellow iron sights, nothing too crazy, very blue back. It's definitely unique to say the least. Then second, the Jungle Bite Python. This thing looks super angry. As you can see, I guess it's some kind of crocodile or some sort of very sharply toothed animal. I don't entirely understand what exactly it is, but this thing does not look friendly at all. You can see a small eye over there, all of these jagged teeth, things like that. It's rather plain, not too sure what it's supposed to be, but in the hands it doesn't look too bad. It's a very green type pistol, so I guess if you're trying to find camo and something that doesn't expose you, this might work relatively well for a Python skin, but it's okay to say the least. As you can see, there's this very angry face at the back of the iron sight, and of course, the front sight is a bright red color, making target acquisition real easy. I like how this thing looks, ultimately, and of course, if you're going to be blasting people in the jungle with this, well, it's probably a pretty good choice, as it's not going to expose you too much at all. Going from $2 to $2.50, the Croco DB, as you can see, is a very scaly, very teethy, once more, double barrel that looks pretty fierce to say the least. I like how this thing looks. It looks very slimy to say the least. If it doesn't manage to slip out of your hands, well, you're probably going to do some pretty good damage to the base that you found in the jungle and are now sitting directly outside of. If we have a look from the first person here, you can see this hand-carved type design that says Croco on the side of it, scratched into it. These two seriously beady eyes staring back at you. That's a really nice touch. This thing looks just as fierce on the back as it does everywhere else. Waiting for you in the dark, in the quiet, this crocodile is definitely a pretty good thing to be adding to your collection if you're looking for more green skins. Speaking of, the last gun this week for $3, this over here is the brand new Heatseeker AR for $3. I love this deep purple / pink color. I think it looks really cool. And as you can see, we also have this tiger or something sitting over here looking real mean. I think this thing looks really cool. And of course, if we flick over to the other side here, it's pretty much just the same over here. More deep purple / orangey colors. This color palette is a chef's kiss. I really like how this thing looks. It looks real good. Tons of attention to detail. And if we look at it in our hands, this thing looks even better. I don't think it'll look just as good on super low graphics settings. It'll be more of a orangey / purpley blur, but ultimately on higher settings, this thing looks fantastic. The bright yellow front iron sight really does contrast with the back purple one, making it relatively easy to find targets, especially in a green jungle. But yeah, this thing just looks so freaking cool. Do let me know down below what you think of this thing. I think it looks amazing. The final weapon this week is not a gun. This is the Predator sword for $3, so just as expensive as the AK. Is it worth it? Well, I don't really think so in my opinion, but maybe you'll find something in this design that you really like. It's got this tiger skin pattern all over it that looks relatively cool, more teeth hanging off the front over here. There's tons of indentations and things like that in it. You can see at the front, there's all of these metal circles cut out with teeth hanging from them. It's a pretty cool attention to 3D detail, but if you don't like the general tiger type skin to it, well, it's maybe not your thing for this week. It's an okay looking skin. I don't think it's anything too crazy, but we've got tons of teeth and jungle anger this week, so it's a relatively good addition to it, especially if you're out collecting the new jungle animals. If we have a look at this thing in first person, it looks just as mean, although a little bit more shiny, I guess. You can see more of the sharp blade at the very front. Definitely attention to detail in the 3D scope again. This looks very different to how the salvaged sword usually looks, so that's pretty cool. It's changed up quite a bit, but again, it's not exactly for everyone, so take from that as you will. Finally, moving on from weapons, we've got 3 more building items this week, starting off with the sleeping bag. The Jungle Tomb sleeping bag for $2 is a very green, very deeply camouflaged, especially in the jungle type sleeping bag. If you put this thing down, I don't think anyone's going to be finding it, neither are you. Imagine this inside of a bush. This thing is completely gone from sight with no glowing effects, nothing like that. It's going to be very easy to make this thing just vanish from sight and be forgotten about. A really cool sort of rune to leave behind, spawn out once in a while. You can see there's this sort of eye and I guess maybe key across the front of it. Super green, super overgrown. This thing looks really, really cool. For something a bit meaner and a bit less camouflage, this brand new metal door, the Aztec rock door for $1.50, is a very spooky looking door that I think fits in really, really well with this jungle update. It's not exactly camouflage, but it does seem like it's straight out of the time period and matches up with everything else super, super well. I really do like how this thing looks. It's a pretty cool addition if you're going to be building any kind of themed Aztec-y type buildings. This would fit in really, really well. And finally, the last item this week is also a glowing item. This is the Aztec garage door for $3, making it one of the more expensive skins this week. It does have a glowing effect, which I'll show you in just a moment, but this is how the thing looks. There's snakes, these little, I guess maybe some kind of dog animal, not too sure, sitting at the bottom of it, looking at this fire with this really spooky looking glowing gem skull above it. Again, it fits in really, really well with the entire theme, and it would definitely look pretty good for a hidden away jungle base that holds many secrets. It looks the same on both sides. It doesn't have the usual light bar at the top of it, which we've seen with a lot of glowing doors recently. Instead, if we flick over to nighttime, most of this thing's glow come from its eyes. So heading across to a completely dark side of it, you can see these 2 big gems and the eyes are glowing really big, one on the forehead, and of course the fire down here as well is illuminating everything in a really nice, pleasant looking 3D type experience. I like how it's done. It's very subtle. It's not exactly a light bar shining down or strange neon characters and things like that drawn on it. This is more of a spooky ancient type stone door that you found in a very dusty puzzle room, things like that. I really like how this thing looks. Is it worth $3 though? Do let me know down below. And with that, we've covered pretty much all of the skins this week. Let's go ahead and flick over to SCMM to see how many of each have sold already, as we're about a day late, and of course speculate about the future, how much these things will be worth, etc, etc. Before we get into it though, just keep in mind this is just a speculation. I'm looking at prices based on previous items that have come out in the past. In no way is this financial advice. If you're planning on buying Rust skins to try and flip them and profit from them in the future, that's entirely on you. Do your research. Of course, this is not financial advice at all. So with that being said, let's get into it, have a look at previous prices, and just speculate about what might happen in the future. Nothing guaranteed. Looking at SCMM, we've already been here once just to check out the prices of these things. Let's go ahead and have a deeper look. We'll start off with the Predator Sword, as it's the only melee item this week. For $3, there are 19 cheaper salvage swords, nothing similar to compare it to, but other swords in the past haven't had that great of a history price-wise. 2023, nothing made profit there. 22, nothing. The only thing that did was 2020, this pixel sword here. That was the last time we had a really profitable skin, gaining about 50% of its value in the market. If we have a look at the very top over here, this chocolate sword that had a couple of bites out of it has gained about 7% as well. Based on the previous years of salvage sword skins, this thing doesn't look like it's got too much of a great place to start with. Do you think it's unique enough to add to the price of, say, these previous skins? Well, I don't really think so. There's nothing too crazy about it. There's the usual 3D type effects like we had with the Lunar Snake, Chocolate Sword, and the Predator Sword here. Who really knows where this thing is going? It doesn't look too positive though. The Crocodile DB, on the other hand, again, hasn't got any other crocodile skins to compare to, but for $2.50, there are 41 cheaper DBs already on the market. And if we have a look at double barrels sold in the last year or two, most of them have lost a bit of their value except for the Bamboo Blaster, which is a similarly green type double barrel. The Blackout DB over here, the rest of them haven't done it too well. Being said, we did have a sort of similar green type skin back here, losing 37% of its value, the Ghost Blaster DB. This, I would assume, is the most similar thing to put it to from 2023. Whether this will increase in price similar to that, nobody knows, but this is a really good looking stealth skin, so take from that as you will. The same can definitely be said about the Jungle Bite Python for $2. Again, there's 45 cheaper in the market with 78 pythons in total now. Again, most of these have lost most of their value, but as you can see, in the past few years, we haven't had anything green. Most of these, except for the blackout over here, which raised in value quite a bit, aren't exactly camouflage by any sense of the word. In fact, I don't think we've had any green python so far, so this is definitely more unique. We did have the Jade Python, but this isn't exactly a camouflage green. It's more of a opulent green. This is more of a similar camouflagey type green with a bit of yellow. Maybe if the yellow wasn't there, it might be more jungle camouflage, but for now at least, it's the best that we have. So I think maybe good things are coming for this in the future, but again, nobody can be 100% certain. Moving on to the Tropico SAP for $2. This brings up our semi-automatic pistols to 76 in total. There's 4 cheaper at this time, and most of these have actually seemed to gain quite a bit of their value. In the previous few weeks, I said that I didn't really like this Deep Ruby SAP, and it only gained 8% of its value since it originally sold on the Rust store, but you can see most of these have gained 10-ish% in value. Only a few of them have really dropped, which is quite surprising, as these things are selling pretty well, which is a really good sign for this, just based on the rest of them. It is more unique, more stylized. The last similar one, I guess, would have maybe been the Bombshell SAP here. There's more teeth, things like that. We don't really have too many animal type skins to look at and compare to. Maybe the Banger SAP has got a similar cartoony type aesthetic to it. That also went up in price, but then again, so did every semi-automatic pistol on the market, except for the Red Shine, Reaper Note, Wasteland, Chemical Burn, and the Minicopter SAP, which is rather surprising. Finally, the last weapon this week, the Heatseeker AR. This fantastic, great-looking purple AK has nothing similar to compare it to. If we have a look at this thing on the market, you can see that there is already a Heatseeker MP5 that's in the workshop. Neither of these glow, but this one might be accepted as well. Nobody really knows. The first one's been accepted, so we might see this in the future, which is interesting to think about. This thing really does look fantastic. I love how it looks, but we do already have 256 AKs in total, so that beautiful square number is a ton of choice. And as you can see, with so much choice, most of these have lost a ton of their value, with only a handful of them being somewhat profitable. So just based on the price of pretty much every other AK skin that we see here, the price of this doesn't look like it's going to go places in the future. That being said, it is more of a unique skin. There's much more of an artistic style put into this, more than just an opulent type AK. So maybe it'll be different, but I'm not entirely too sure. Finally, moving away from weapons, we've got 3 items. The sleeping bag over here for $2 joins a pool of 103 sleeping bags in total now. Most of them seem to lose a bit of their price. However, as you can see, it's sort of a mixed bag. Some of them, including the Ultramarine set, which usually sells pretty well, works pretty well. Although a lot of the camouflagey type skins, like maybe the Hay sleeping bag for the desert, Desert Stone, things like that, don't seem to gain too much value. The last sort of green sleeping bag that we've seen is the Forest Camo bag, and this has gone up almost 600% in price, which is a huge amount. Personally, I think these two look pretty similar. As for whether the price will match, either now or at some stage in the future, who knows? But hey, take from that as you will. I think they look relatively similar. This one might work a bit better in more detailed vegetation, like grass here, bushes, things like that. But let me know what you think will happen down below. The Aztec Rock Door for $1.50 brings us up to 246 sheet metal doors. Most of these have lost a bit of their value, a bit more than the general sleeping bag. And as you can see, the last Aztec door that we had did pretty well, gaining about 68% of its value since it was sold in the Rust store, now on the Steam market. This is also just as Aztec themed, but this jungle door over here did lose quite a bit of its value. So I don't really know where this is going to go. It's not a glowing skin like this door here. It's more of a similar door to the Aztec jungle door, although not as stone textured. It's more unique. So I'm not really sure where this thing is going to go. If we scroll through the rest of these garage doors here, we've got a couple of cute faces and things like that. Most of them have lost value. There's not too many doors that have gained value, quite surprisingly, especially some of the better looking ones. So just as there's so much choice, maybe this thing's not going to go too well after overall. Then the final skin this week, the Aztec garage door for $3, brings us up to 151 total garage doors. Most of them again have lost most of their value, and we do have a ton of streamer garage doors, so do remember that. The last few Aztec themed / jungle update themed garage doors that were released have done relatively well. They've at least kept their value. As for whether this will follow that trend, nobody knows, but as of recently, pretty much all of these garage doors have lost 20 to 50% of their value, which doesn't look too good for this brand new garage door skin. Only a certain few of these really stand out. Nobody really knows why, so just keep that in mind. And with that, we've run through all of the 8 brand new skins this week. Hopefully you found this video interesting. Thank you for watching. Mine's been Troubleshoot, and I'll see you all next time. Ciao.